You don't need all the answers yet. There's something I've noticed over the years. People don't actually come looking for answers. Not really. They're usually looking for what they're usually looking for is relief. Relief from not knowing what's next, not knowing if things will work out, not knowing if they're making the right choices, not knowing if they're safe. And somewhere along the way, we were taught that not knowing is a problem. That uncertainty means failure. That if you can't see the whole path clearly, you shouldn't be taking the first step. But life has never worked like that, not once. Think back to any meaningful moment in your life. Moving to a new place, starting a relationship, changing work, beginning something unfamiliar. You never had all the answers. You stepped forward anyway because certainty isn't how life moves. Life moves through partial light, a few feet of visibility, then a few more, then a few more, like walking at dawn. Astrology taught me this. Not prediction, not guarantees, not this exact event will happen. If someone promises you that, be careful. What astrology really offers is orientation. It says, here is the landscape, here is the weather, here is the season. But it never says, here's every step you will take, because that wouldn't be living. That would be a script. And you're not here to follow a script. You're here to participate, to respond, to discover. Still, the mind wants certainty. It wants the full map, every turn labeled, every outcome guaranteed. But imagine if you actually had that. Imagine knowing every conversation, before it happened, every success, every mistake, every ending. It wouldn't feel like life anymore. It would feel mechanical, flat. Mystery is not a flaw in the design. It's part of the design. When people sit with me and say, Ron, just tell me what's going to happen, I understand the feeling. Of course I do. We all want reassurance. But what I try to offer instead is something quieter and much more useful. Not answers, but footing. Because when your footing is steady, you don't need answers. You only need the next step. If you know this is a time to conserve, you conserve. If you know this is a time to explore, you explore. If you know this is a time to wait, you wait. Simple, not dramatic, but incredibly effective. Right now, many people feel suspended, like they're between chapters. The old structure doesn't quite fit anymore, but the new one hasn't formed yet. That space can feel uncomfortable, like floating, like nothing is solid. But in nature, that's exactly where transformation happens. Caterpillar to butterfly, winter to spring, night to morning. There's always a quiet in between. Just forget that the in between is normal. We think something is wrong. Nothing is wrong. You're simply between forms. And you don't need all the answers yet. You really don't. You only need enough awareness to stay balanced, enough patience to wait, enough trust to move when it's time. That's orientation, not certainty, not prediction, just steadiness. It's like walking with a lantern instead of a stadium light. You see a few steps, that's enough, because life only ever asks for the next step, never the whole staircase. So, if you're feeling unsure lately, if you're wanting clarity that hasn't arrived yet, if you're wishing someone could just hand you the future, maybe nothing is missing. Maybe this is simply the natural fog before the view opens. And fog isn't danger. It just means slow down, pay attention, walk carefully, trust your footing. I'm Ron. This is Astrology and Me. We don't promise answers here. We practice orientation. And if you'd ever like help understanding the season you're standing in, the links are below. Take your time. Clarity comes. It always does.